time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
My friends, it's a retreat that's held twice a year, February and June. It's called the International Student Leadership Institute. Let me just give you a little briefing on the I.S.L.I, as they say. It's true proof that the church is alive in our generation, and that our generation is very much above the stereotypes that it is labeled with today. And today we have student facilitators of this event that will be occurring in June. We have Mary Susan McAndrews, we have Dan Sinofsky, and Matt Straub. If you remember, we had Matt and Dan on the show earlier this year talking about the retreat, and it was sort of sold out, so to speak. They couldn't handle any more people. I think it's a great challenge. I think it's a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit about this today, folks, and what it means. An opportunity for you to talk to your children or you young people who are watching, give you an idea of what it is faith today, because you certainly have challenges. So Mary, Susan McAndrew, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here because you brighten up the show. We had the two guys on last time. It was sort of, the two guys, but now we have a pretty girl on the show. You're a senior, correct?
Yes, okay. I am.
All right, International Student Leadership Institute. Okay, first of all, explain what it is, and then I'd like to know why you, as a young girl, wanted to get involved with this, because you've been involved for 4 years.
Yes, I have. So I.S.L.I is a retreat based around 5 objectives: support, awareness, self-confidence, positive thinking, and values. It's a couple days long. The one we're having in June is 4 days long, and each day we'll have a different speaker come and speak about each different objective. So it's based around those 5 different things.
Okay, so when you first heard about this, okay, why did you want to become involved with this? I mean, you're a high school student, you got a lot of things going for you, and sort of like today, people, when you mention God and religion, people like, don't bother me with that, but yet they're willing to spend time watching all kind of other crap that's on television. But why did you get involved with it?
Well, I heard about it through Brian Williams. He used to be the youth minister at St. John Bosco in Cunningham, and he told us about it and told us that he thought we would really enjoy it. And he's brought us to different retreats before, and I trusted him saying he thought we'd enjoy it, so I went.
What did you get out of it, Mary Susan?
What did I get out of I.S.L.I? Yeah. A sense of belonging, because not only is it those 5 objectives, which in each of those 5 different areas I have really grown, it's knowing that there are other teenagers my age, and it's the connection, seeing that there are a lot of people out there my age and around my age searching for a stronger faith and to be connected with God.
It's interesting because we talked about this before. When you're young people today, if their parents, go to a mass or go to services, whether Protestant, Catholic, or Jewish, it doesn't make any difference. There's a sense of belonging. There's a sense of feeling and wanting to share. Okay, young people are faced with a lot of challenges today, as you know, in high school. Okay, how do you put your faith to work when you're tempted? Because Satan is working very, very hard in the country today, in many areas. Okay, but how do you focus and stay on that straight line and avoid the things that really would make you not too good in the eyes of God?
Well, a big thing for me is the people I surround myself with. They're 2 of my great friends.
Sorry to hear that. I thought maybe I'm only kidding.
They're 2 of my great friends, and we've been really strong friends. We've been really strong friends since like 6th grade. So definitely who you surround yourself with. We're not interested in the same kind of things, but obviously still faced with a lot of decisions, and it's just knowing better. I've been very blessed. I've always gone to church with my family, but now it's me owning my decision to go. I mean, I'll go by myself. It's me owning my faith, and it's making that decision to want to belong to something like this.
Why is it so important, okay, for you to go to church every week? All right, like you said, there are a lot of young people today that don't go to church. Occasionally they'll go to church. Well, why? And I hear again, doesn't necessarily have to be a Catholic mass. It could be a Protestant service or a Jewish service or whatever. Why is it so important that you go to church?
Well, for one, it's having to take that time out of my busy schedule. It's saying I'm going to give up an hour of my time, and giving up an hour, I'm able to get so much more out of it. Hearing the different readings and the songs, and just having to take that quiet time, and it's given that opportunity to pray and to have that time with God.
Yeah, and some people take God for granted, okay, and until they need Him, then it's like, oh, pray for my this, pray for that, and they're running to church when September 11 hit, the churches were jammed. When a person has a sickness and they're going to church and they're praying, and when something happens, they're praying until they get better, and when they get better, they forget that we should be doing this. Does it mean a lot to you in your life? To have a faith and to practice that faith?
Oh, definitely, because it's knowing that my faith is something I can, rely on when I am going through hard times, but it's another way for me to celebrate when things are going right.
And when you're sharing this with some of your friends, what kind of reactions do you get? Do you get some...
It's at first it's definitely you go away on a retreat and I'm like, yeah, hang out with God for a couple of days. Why not? They're definitely
taking like that too. Wow, it's hang out with God. What is she, some kind of freak or what?
they're definitely taken aback by it at first because it's not as popular. But I think more and more things are getting out there and more people are getting involved. And once they really are able to hear about how much fun we have and laughing and the friendships we make, people definitely have a different view on it.
Mary Susan, you're a senior.
Yes, I am.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think is the biggest challenge that young girls your age are facing today?
Oh, geez. The biggest challenge I think is probably self-confidence, which is one of the objectives that you're able to be helped with at I.S.L.I. It's knowing your worth. I think girls really struggle with whether they're trying to get the attention of a guy their age, or belonging with the other girls that they're friends with, not wanting to get into fights. I definitely think being confident in who they are and what they like to do, and I definitely think that's one of the biggest challenges girls my age face.
And how are you facing those challenges?
Well, again, I got lucky enough to be surrounded by some really fantastic people that I don't really have to worry about things like that. Going into high school and meeting new people was hard, but I.S.L.I, going to it, helped me know that God loves me and that I should love myself just as much.
And you seem happy.
I am.
Okay, and that's amazing because people would think that, sometimes, again, when someone's practicing their faith, again, whether you're Catholic, Protestant, or Jewish, whatever, you're practicing your faith and they become holy. She thinks she's holier than anybody else. But I think you send a strong message. And even though you could only have so many at this retreat, and it's an opportunity for young people to think a little bit, And you said, why can't I give at least an hour of time? Okay, because I often heard the expression when someone says, how much you give? I give $1, I give $5, and so I remember a person saying to me, it's very simple, Sammy. You stop giving to God when He stops giving to you. And that's the way it is, and that's why I said it's a great challenge for young people today, because you're faced with so much stuff, especially the media. The media is trying to destroy the family, and these are facts. People sometimes, Mary Susan, they don't like to hear the cold facts. And it's not a political thing, but sometimes it is a political thing, and sometimes you have to just stand up for what is right, instead of a political party. Dan Sanoski, you were a facilitator, you were on before. When you were on before, you explained briefly again, as a young man, okay, why are you involved with the I.S.L.I?
I got involved with I.S.L.I in 9th grade for very much the same reason as Mary Susan, because our youth minister at the time encouraged it and we trusted his judgment. But I wouldn't regret it for a second, and I stay involved with I.S.L.I because it gives me a sense of identity. It showed me through my exploration of faith who I am as a person and as a young person, because in today's world we define ourselves, we find who we are in the things we do, and and in how we treat other people and this kind of thing, and that's all fantastic. But at the end of the day, I.S.L.I showed me that if all of that was taken away from me, I still have God, I still have my faith, and that's who I am. And that's the biggest thing that I got out of I.S.L.I was a sense of identity, and that's why I stay involved.
Well, you're going on 4 years now, okay? And there's 2 retreats a year, and we'll talk about that. But here again, we heard what Mary Susan's, some of the challenges as a young man in high school today, okay? What do you think faces young high school students, male students today?
I think one of the biggest challenges that faces young male students would be a sort of stereotype that falls upon men of our age to be a certain kind of person. And I find that as I interact with other young teens, Catholic, Christian, whatever they are, that it's a reluctance to open up about things like faith and the subjective side of life that we live, to hold up this identity of being, oh, I'm a man, I'm too cool to worry about that kind of stuff. I'm a cool guy, I'm a football player, this or that. It's a challenge, though, that we need to look at the side of life that our faith gives us, the subjective side of our faith and of our God as a part of our lives.
Now, you go to church every week?
Yes.
Okay, and how do you feel about going to church? What do you tell these students out there, the kids that are not going to church, too busy going to, watching television or going with their friends or going parties, etc. And God doesn't become, hey, he's there, but, if I need him, I'm there. If my parents are on my back. And unfortunately, parents are not being the good guardians that they should be sometimes, because they should be setting examples. And maybe it's the reverse sometimes. If young kids are saying, Dad and Mom, let's go to church, it's an interesting thing. So I think that's always a situation. How important is church for you?
I think church is really important for me because just like any other teenager, I have these struggles and these problems that I'm facing, and I choose to ask God to help me with them. But I feel like it would be very difficult for me to ask God for help if I don't go to see him every so often. And church is that opportunity to encounter Christ and to encounter God in a way that he can meet us where we're at with our struggles and our problems and say that he's there to handle them and we don't have to.
Folks, I'm talking to student facilitators for the International Student Leadership Institute, which is held twice a year, February and June. There's a website that you can go to if you would like to participate. It's the dioceseofscranton.org. And you get information there. We come back, we're going to talk to Matt Straub. He was on the show before. And the theme in February was, who is shaping you? We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Thank you so much, folks, for making the Sam Lesante Show Northeastern Pennsylvania's #1 talk show. I say that with humble feelings. I appreciate that very much. Our website, ssptv.com, over 1 million hits. Thank you for accepting FYI News. Our partnership with the Standard Speaker has been working fabulously. We're bringing a lot of information. The Girls now up to 160,000 people a week. This show is 175,000 people a week watching it, and we're covering, as you know, from Pine Grove all the way up to northern part of Dallas. And we appreciate that very much. My guest today, folks, they're student facilitators. It's a retreat that's held twice a year, February and June. It's called the International Student Leadership Institute. That's the International Student Leadership Institute. 3 young people, seniors. I have Mary Susan McAndrews, I have Dan Sinofsky, and now we're going to speak to Matt Straub. Matt, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How's the sound level here? Are we okay with the sound level?
I think it's perfect.
Okay. Matt's going to go to study sound in college. Boy, Daddy and Mommy, you're going to spend a lot of money. I told him there's 2 knobs, volume, soft and loud. Anyway, Matt, only kidding with you, of course. I always wish you the best. The theme this year, because you were on this year talking about this, and the theme is, who is shaping you? Okay, so could you tell me what you gained from that, and what was this theme about? And we'll talk about the theme that's coming up in June.
Mm-hmm. Well, I personally think that theme was a really relatable thing for a lot of students, because it had to do with, who is shaping you right now, and, all the things, good things, bad things, distractions, everything that, we are taking in, as high school students. It really was focusing on all of those things and how they're impacting us, and then in turn, how we could be impacting other people. So I think that it brought a really, good, positive message.
The energy level is very high, okay, and I could sense that, all right? Am I right, Mary and Dan?
Yes.
So with this energy level being high, with 80 students, which is the max you can have, I understand, how is it like, 80 high school students, mingling, you're smiling, you must have a lot of fun, okay? But it's very rewarding. Tell me about what you get out of there, if this energy is going so high, it has to become contagious.
Oh, it's extremely contagious, and it's really fun to see the participants that come into the week as, shy, kind of, stuck inside their shell a little bit. And, you can see them, each day become a little bit, bigger and bigger. And then eventually, volunteering to do things for us or like pray before a meal or something like that. So it really helps, open people up and become more confident, in themselves and in their faith.
Why is it important for you, Matt? Okay, because I see you in church quite regularly. Why is it important for you to go to church?
For me, I think it's more of a constant, weekly reminder of anything. Because, obviously, like if you ask people, no matter what religion they are, how are you being a good person? What their morals are. They can, give you, an exponential number of answers. But, to be in church and to, see that, same thing every week, obviously it changes up, there's different readings, different songs, there's a different message. But, the goal, for me at least, of Mass is to, for it to be that reminder of, why we're doing all this and, what we should, what we are looking forward and what we are doing all of this for.
Okay, so there are people watching the show now, okay? Some people that are watching, whether they're seniors, whether they're parents, or whether, I have a lot of people who watch different, ages. Why is it important for them, first of all, for them to go to a service? And here again, it doesn't have to be a Catholic Mass. It could be a Protestant service or a Jewish service or whatever. But why is it important for them? What message you tell them that they should be practicing their faith and God is very important in their lives?
Well, I would say that, the service aspect is kind of like almost everything in your faith, is that, you can get out of it as much as you put into it. So, you might go to Mass on a Sunday in a horrible mood, you're running late, or in a fantastic mood because you were with family the day before and you're just in a good mood. But, usually for me, no matter what kind of day or week you had, you can go to Mass and, through something you can relate, either whether it's a reading, whether it's a homily or something like that, a song, to something that, you have on your mind or something that happened in the week before that's going to come up in the next week. And it could really help you, get through that and maybe look at it from a different perspective.
So Matt, what do you think the majority of those students that in February, what were some of their, concerns? What would have been a theme, when, you're talking to your peers and they may share with you some of the difficulties they had, and without maybe specifically naming people, of course. But what were some of the concerns that some of your peers had?
Well, sharing, many things is difficult in today's world, and even just being an individual and not just going with the status quo is something that for many age groups, but particularly teens, I think is becoming more and more difficult in today's world, especially when it comes to sharing your faith and being open with it, with others, at all times, whether you're in the cafeteria or at your house. And I think that is probably one of the biggest struggles that, teens of, all kinds, all religions are facing.
Well, today, the family unit is under attack. It's unfortunate, and I'm in the media, and so I'm very embarrassed of the media, because I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make different lifestyles acceptable, and which, of course, God knows what happens in individuals' lives, and we're not here to criticize anybody, but being a young person and seeing, the things that are not conducive to a family. To me, they're trying to destroy the family, because when you have a strong family, there's a lot of strong faith there, as you know, okay? And when that happens, then political motivations, and again, I know people are saying he's going to go political. No, the fact of the matter is you have to face those facts, okay? And when they're trying to destroy the family, then that's what they're trying to get at, and that's where Satan gets his best bang for the buck. Would you agree, Matt?
I mean, I would agree. And I mean, it's funny because when you brought up the word family, now I'm taking it in kind of a different angle.
Okay.
I.S.L.I, the people that have gone through I.S.L.I, whether you've been doing it for 4 years and planning it, or you're coming for your first or second time, I.S.L.I is often referred to as a family because the number of people that are there within a weekend or 4 days, depending on which one you go to, and the amount of sharing that goes on, and the amount of togetherness that is there, I.S.L.I is sometimes referred to as a family. And I think that even if we look in our faith, the community aspect and having how many people behind you, supporting you and praying for you is something that is really valued, and I think is kind of sometimes forgotten, but is something that's very important.
So you'll bring what you've learned with you in your life, okay? So that'll, into college, and you'll bring that faith with you. So it's, once again, it's a substance matter. Well, now the theme was who is shaping you? Coming up in June, okay, folks, if you want to get involved, it's the dioceseofscranton.org. You can go there. Now the theme coming up, and we'll talk about this theme. This is exciting. It's CSI. Okay, not the CSI you're thinking about. It's CSI, Christian Soul Investigation, exploring the search for God in our daily lives, exploring the search for identity in Christ, seeing that we all, like a CSI team, need the help of others to solve this case, and that's life. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. You're watching the Sam Lesante Show. My email, sam@ssptv.com. Please, if you have any comments, I always appreciate them, positive or negative. If they're constructive, folks, I'm always willing to read them. My guest today, we have student facilitators for it's called the International Student Leadership Institute, and it's held twice a year in February and June. It's a retreat for young people. It's fabulous. The 3 people I have on my show today have been going for 4 years, and they are Mary Susan McAndrew, Danny Sinofsky, and Matt Straub. Okay, the theme, just a little bit, it's called the CSI, Christian Soul Investigation. That's interesting. What are we going to get out of this?
What are we going to get out of this? I think a lot. It's all about finding yourself and doing so by searching your faith more, searching yourself, finding different stuff out about yourself, and through all of that, deepening your faith and your relationship with God.
And you're looking forward to this, right?
Very much so.
Dan, what would you be getting? It says, exploring the search for God in our daily lives. Okay, here again, what will you be getting out of this particular retreat?
I think it's an interesting theme because it not only allows us to find ourselves and to search for ourselves, but it's finding God within ourselves and finding God within our world. And as Christians, we have a God who meets us where we're at and who chases after us. And it's to show that finding God maybe sometimes isn't as complicated as a CSI case. It's something as simple as, facing Him and seeing where He is in our daily lives and in our hearts.
Matt, what will you get out of this? I hope to get out of it anyway.
Well,
because I know you say you're going to get something out of it, but you go there and all of a sudden you get things you can't imagine you get out of it because it just explodes, But just basically, what are you looking for?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think that since every different, case is different, when you're investigating a crime, all of our lives are different. And I think that it's going to be very unique to see how each one of us is going to, find our faith through different ways and through doing different things. And I think that even though each one of us could be doing that differently, we're all going to be able to come together for things like going to, Mass, and we all come together, to celebrate as, one. But, separately, we can, each individual can find their faith in different ways.
Now I'm going to ask you a quick question, and I want to put you on the spot. I'll start with you, Matt. Who do you admire? Who is someone that you admire? Actors, doesn't make any difference. Who is someone you admire and why?
Well, I would have to say my parents.
Okay.
Just because they have always been, extremely positive influences and role models in my life, regardless of what the situation has been at home. And they always just seem to find the answer to whatever's going on.
Daniel?
I'm going to say...
Don't say Sam Lesante. I know you want to say No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's a lot that I could say, but I'm going to say my sister Dana. I have a twin sister. And she's always been there for me, no matter what's going on in my life or in my faith. And we share the faith together, and it's great to have her there for me, and that I know that if I'm questioning something or if I'm dealing with something, she's always got something to say or an answer or a way for me to find the answer. So
That's right. Well, you know, Sammy and Janine are twins. You know, the boy and girl twins. And Mary Susan?
I'm going to say my older sister, Annie. Definitely the same sense. She's always there for me. She's always there to challenge me and, you know, force me out of my comfort zone to try new things, but is there to catch me when I fall.
That's terrific. Well, I want to applaud the three of you. I think you sent a great message. I'm hoping that the viewers were able to get something from the show today. The event is going to be June, and you want to go to the dioceseofscranton.org, folks. It's called the International Student Leadership Institute. It's a fabulous opportunity for young people to get involved and learn about God. We'll see you next time.